Amidst the brutal final days of World War II in Lapland, a lone prospector unearths a massive gold deposit. His triumph is short-lived when a retreating Nazi SS unit crosses his path. What ensues is a relentless, over-the-top battle for survival and gold as the prospector, an unstoppable legend known as Sisu, unleashes a one-man war against the entire German convoy.
All of them.
Then bring them to me.
Pick me.
I'm not turning back. In a few months, it's all...
Keep going. Let's go shy.
You fly this fucking plane! Did you hear that?
guys. Today we're diving headfirst into a movie that basically asks, what if John Wick decided to go prospecting in Finland during World War II and then got really mad? We're talking about Sisu, the Finnish action flick that proves you should never, ever try to steal a man's gold, especially if that man is rumored to be a one-man death squad. Get ready for an absolute roller coaster of explosions, improbable survival, and some seriously inventive ways to dispatch Nazis. If you had a good time with this, a like and a subscribe is a free way to help me keep making more. The film opens with a vast, sweeping shot of the desolate, beautiful yet unforgiving landscape of Lapland, Finland in 1944. The air crackles with the distant echoes of war, a grim backdrop to a truly solitary existence. We're introduced to Aatami Korpi, an old man, weathered and stoic, whose face tells 1,000 silent stories. He's not just a prospector, he's a living relic, patiently toiling away in the harsh wilderness with nothing but his trusty pickaxe, a pan, and his loyal companion, a shaggy, quiet dog. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months. The clink of his pickaxe against rock and the swish of his pan through riverbed gravel are the only sounds breaking the profound silence. He's searching for gold, that elusive shimmer that promises freedom, a final peace after a lifetime of hardship. The camera lingers on his determined, almost obsessive movements, the repetitive, rhythmic thud of his tools, hinting at a deep perseverance. Then it happens. The dull thud turns into a sharper, more resonant clang. Aatami freezes, his eyes widening almost imperceptibly. He digs with renewed vigor, the gravel and dirt flying, his breath quickening. And there, buried beneath layers of earth and time, is a glimmer, not just a speck, but a vein, a rich, solid deposit of pure gold. The sight of it is almost overwhelming. He pulls out a nugget, weighty and cold in his hand, its dull sheen reflecting the vast sky. It's a fortune, enough to secure a future, to finally escape the ravages of war and the crushing solitude he's endured. He carefully begins to extract the gold, filling several satchels, the heavy clink of the precious metal echoing his newfound wealth. The scritch of the heavy bags being dragged across the ground is a sound of triumph, a reward for unwavering dedication. His dog watches, head cocked, perhaps sensing the shift in his master's demeanor. Aatami's face, usually set in a grim mask, breaks into a rare, almost childlike smile. He is rich. He is free.
His peaceful, albeit arduous, journey back to civilization is abruptly shattered. The distant rumble that had been a faint whisper now grows into a menacing roar. Dust clouds bloom on the horizon, dark and ominous, announcing the arrival of something big, something dangerous. It's a retreating Nazi SS unit, a grim procession of tanks, armored cars, and trucks, their engines groaning, their tracks clanking rhythmically on the dry earth. These are not just soldiers. They are the desperate, brutal remnants of a defeated army, pillaging and destroying everything in their path as they flee the advancing Soviets. They are led by Bruno Helldorf, a cruel, pragmatic SS Obersturmführer, whose cold eyes reflect a profound emptiness. Aatami, ever the survivor, quickly understands the danger. He hides his gold-laden horse and himself, camouflaged amongst the rocks. The only sounds the pounding of his own heart and the distant, ever-growing metallic clatter of the approaching convoy. He's a shadow, a ghost in the landscape, hoping to go unnoticed. The convoy passes, a menacing spectacle of military might and desperation. But fate, as it often does in these stories, has other plans. A single straggling jeep full of soldiers spots Aatami. The quiet tension breaks with a sudden shout in German, followed by the crack of a rifle shot. Aatami is hit, falling to the ground, the thump of his body barely audible over the roaring engines. The soldiers approach, curious, predatory. They discover his horse, then the satchels of gold. The sight of the shimmering metal sparks instant greed. The quiet clink of the gold coins as they're spilled onto the ground is a sound of immense temptation, a lure for desperate men. Helldorf, informed of the discovery, arrives. His initial indifference morphs into calculating avarice. He looks at Aatami, a seemingly helpless old man, then at the gold. He offers Aatami a quick death, but Aatami, through a silent, unyielding stare, refuses. Helldorf orders his men to take the gold and leave the old man for dead. As the convoy prepares to move on, Aatami's loyal dog, sensing his master's peril, dashes out, barking frantically. In a moment of callous brutality, a tank driver, without a second thought, runs the dog over. The crunch of bone and the dog's whimpering yelp is a visceral, horrifying sound that pierces the quiet. This, my friends, is the turning point. This is where the legend of Sisu truly begins. The old man, left for dead, rises. His eyes, once full of a quiet hope, now burn with an infernal rage. The snap of his resolve is almost audible. He will not just reclaim his gold, he will make them pay dearly for every transgression, every act of cruelty. This isn't just about money anymore. It's about vengeance, about an ancient, unbreakable spirit. Turns out, some people just weren't meant for retirement, especially if retirement involves a gold rush during wartime. The Nazis, bless their hearts, just hadn't grasped the concept of leave the grandpa with the dog alone, a lesson many cartoon villains learned the hard way. Aatami, barely healed, begins his relentless pursuit. He moves like a specter, his knowledge of the brutal terrain his greatest weapon. His first move is to turn the tables, creating a devastating minefield in the convoy's path. We see him meticulously placing the anti-tank mines, his hands steady, his face a mask of grim determination. The silent focus on his task, the almost surgical precision, underscores his lethal intent. The tension builds as the first tank approaches. The groan of its engine, the clatter of its tracks, then the deafening boom as it strikes a mine. A plume of fire and black smoke erupts, metal shrieks, and the tank is ripped apart. The chaos is immediate. Soldiers scream, vehicles swerve, and the air fills with the crackling of secondary explosions. Helldorf, initially confused, quickly realizes they are under attack. Panic begins to ripple through the ranks. But Aatami is just getting started. Another boom, another vehicle decimated. The Germans, disoriented and terrified, become easy targets. Aatami, using a rifle he scavenged, unleashes a barrage of precise shots, picking off soldiers who try to flee. The crack, crack, crack of his rifle echoes across the landscape, a grim symphony of retribution. He's not just fighting, he's systematically dismantling them, one man against an entire unit. He essentially became a human Swiss Army knife of destruction, though probably a lot less sterile. During the ensuing pandemonium, Aatami's horse, laden with gold, breaks free and bolts. Aatami, seeing his precious cargo escaping, has no choice but to pursue it, even as the Nazis are scrambling to organize a counterattack. The pursuit leads him to a small lake. He rides his horse into the water, hoping to evade the Germans, but they are right on his heels, their machine guns spitting fire, the whiz of bullets kicking up sprays of water around him.
Aatami plunges into the water, his horse swimming alongside him. He holds onto a rope, dragged beneath the surface, trying to stay hidden. The cold, dark water envelops him, the sounds of the surface world muffled, distorted. He can feel the current, the weight of the gold pulling at the horse. Suddenly, a German soldier dives in after him. The underwater struggle is brutal and silent, a terrifying ballet of life and death. The only sounds are the gurgle of water, the whoosh of struggling bodies, the muffled thump of impacts. Aatami, with uncanny strength, manages to stab the soldier with his knife. We see the silent, desperate bubbles escaping the dying man's mouth, a chilling visual. Aatami then surfaces, gasping for air, the chill of the water clinging to him, but his resolve remains unbroken. He retrieves his gold, dragging himself and his horse back to shore, the metallic clink of the gold a stark contrast to the quiet struggle. The fight continues on land. The Germans, enraged and frustrated, hunt him down. Aatami, ever resourceful, finds himself on foot, but with an unexpected advantage. As the Germans close in, he grabs a loose wire, quickly attaches it to his horse, and then, in a stroke of mad genius, sets the horse on fire. The animal, now a flaming projectile, gallops wildly toward the pursuing soldiers. The whinny of the burning horse, the whoosh of the flames, the terrified screams of the Germans as the fiery beast crashes into their ranks. It's a chaotic, explosive moment that epitomizes Aatami's brutal creativity. The thud of bodies hitting the ground, the crackling of burning flesh, it's a terrifying spectacle. He's not playing by the rules of conventional warfare. He's playing by the rules of sheer, unadulterated vengeance. He's essentially weaponizing local fauna, which, frankly, is a level of tactical genius you just don't see in modern warfare. Aatami, battered but relentless, manages to escape, eventually finding temporary shelter. The film then briefly introduces us to a group of Finnish women held captive by the Nazis, forced to provide comfort to the soldiers. They are on a bus, heavily guarded. These women, resilient survivors in their own right, represent another facet of the war's brutality, but also a simmering defiance. Their leader, a formidable woman named Aino, watches with quiet intensity, waiting for an opportunity. Aatami's path inevitably crosses with the convoy again. This time, he finds himself in a direct confrontation with Helldorf's remaining forces. During this brutal exchange, Aatami is left for dead, riddled with bullets, seemingly incapacitated. But Sisu, as the legend goes, means more than just courage. It means resilience, an unbreakable will against impossible odds. He's a man who simply refuses to die. It's like he subscribed to a very niche Finnish self-help guide, how to survive literally everything by being really, really stubborn and occasionally on fire.
The Germans, thinking they've finally dispatched him, move on. But Aatami, in a truly shocking moment, slowly, painstakingly, pulls himself back to consciousness. He uses whatever means necessary to survive, even cauterizing his own wounds with a hot rock and crude alcohol. The hiss of flesh and the agonizing grunt of pain, a testament to his sheer will. He is a force of nature, driven by an unholy combination of pain, grief, and an unwavering desire for his gold. His relentless pursuit leads him to a gallows where the captive Finnish women are about to be executed. Helldorf, in a final act of senseless cruelty, has decided to hang them. The creak of the ropes, the desperate pleas of the women, the cold indifference of the German soldiers. The scene is fraught with tension. Aatami, seeing this injustice, can't just pass by. His mission for gold momentarily expands to include saving these innocent lives. He launches a surprise attack, a whirlwind of violence. He's a blur of motion, dispatching soldiers with a primal ferocity. He uses his pickaxe, not just as a tool, but as a weapon. The clang of metal against bone, the thud of falling bodies, painting a gruesome picture of his efficiency. The women, initially terrified, watch in stunned awe as this seemingly ancient warrior cuts through their captors. One particularly memorable moment sees him taking down a soldier with a single brutal headbutt, the crack of bone echoing. He frees the women, but not without taking heavy losses himself. He's bleeding, exhausted, but still standing. Aino and the other women, now armed with scavenged German weapons, decide to join his fight. They see in Aatami not just a man, but a symbol of defiance against their oppressors. The click of the weapons being loaded, the determined glint in their eyes, signifies a new, formidable alliance. The battle escalates as Aatami and the women confront the remaining German forces, particularly the bus carrying the last of Helldorf's gold and the remaining German soldiers. The rumble of the bus, the rattle of machine gun fire, fills the air. It's an intense, desperate fight. The women, using their knowledge of the land and their newfound courage, set up an ambush. The shrieking of tires as the bus swerves, the crack of bullets against metal, the shouts of the Germans. The chaos is palpable. Aatami, ever at the forefront, creates diversions, drawing fire, giving the women openings.
Inside the bus, the fight is close quarters and brutal. Aino, with a fierce determination, leads the charge. They use whatever they can as weapons, discarded equipment, even their bare hands. The thud of fists, the snap of necks, the metallic clang of a German helmet against the bus wall. It's a symphony of desperate survival. Aino, in a particularly impactful moment, uses a German's own shovel to dispatch him, the whiz and thump of the heavy tool leaving no doubt about her resolve. The women, once victims, are now warriors, reclaiming their agency with every blow. Aatami, after a devastating attack that leaves him severely injured and seemingly dead yet again. Honestly, at this point, you'd think the SS commander would just cut his losses and ask for directions to the nearest gift shop, but no. Finds himself tangled in the debris of the bus wreckage, his body on fire. He's literally engulfed in flames, yet still he endures. The sizzle of burning cloth, the searing pain, the stench of his own singeing flesh. It's a horrific image, yet he continues to move, a human torch of vengeance. He manages to free himself, rolling in the dirt to extinguish the flames, his skin charred but his will unbroken. It's a moment that defies logic, pushing the boundaries of human endurance. The final confrontation brings Aatami face to face with Helldorf himself. Helldorf, having loaded Aatami's gold onto an airplane, attempts to make his escape. Aatami, seeing his life's fortune about to fly away, is not about to let that happen. He makes a daring, almost suicidal leap onto the plane's landing gear as it taxis for takeoff. The roar of the engines, the whoosh of air, the terrifying height. It's a high-stakes, adrenaline-fueled climax. He climbs, hand over hand, up the landing gear, the wind whipping around him, the clatter of the gears, the shudder of the plane.
Inside the cockpit, Helldorf, realizing Aatami is on board, attempts to shake him off, performing erratic maneuvers. The rattle of the plane, the sudden shifts in G-force as it banks and dives, creates a visceral sense of peril. Aatami, a man of impossible resilience, clings on. He eventually makes his way into the plane, directly confronting Helldorf. The battle inside the cramped cockpit is claustrophobic and brutal. Helldorf is a formidable opponent, driven by desperation. Punches fly, the thwack of impact resonating in the small space. The snarls of the men, the clatter of controls as they struggle, the ripping sound of stressed metal. It's a fight for survival and gold at thousands of feet in the air. Aatami uses his pickaxe, striking with savage precision. Helldorf, in a moment of desperate retaliation, manages to stab Aatami with his own knife, but it's not enough to stop him.
In a truly audacious move, Aatami manages to gain control of the plane, not to fly it, but to crash it in a controlled, or at least semi-controlled manner. The screech of metal, the shudder of the fuselage, the whoosh of the wind as parts of the plane begin to tear away. It's a terrifying descent. Helldorf is thrown around like a rag doll. Aatami, with a final furious burst of strength, uses his pickaxe one last time, driving it into Helldorf's head. The splatter of blood, the sudden sickening thud of the impact, marks the end of Helldorf's reign of terror. The plane crashes violently, but not fatally for Aatami. He somehow survives the impact, crawling out of the wreckage, bruised, battered, bleeding, but alive. The groan of twisted metal, the hiss of escaping steam, the silence after the impact. It's a scene of utter devastation. He has endured fire, water, bullets, and a plane crash. Sisu. The women, who have been watching the aerial battle unfold, rush to the crash site. They find Aatami, barely conscious, amidst the wreckage, but he's still clutching his satchel of gold. Aino approaches him, her face filled with a mix of awe and concern. She and the other women had previously been subjected to horrific acts, including the shaving of their heads by the Germans. In a poignant, almost symbolic gesture, one of the women takes a razor and shaves Aatami's head. It's a moment of shared experience, a quiet acknowledgement of the scars they all bear, a reversal of the Germans' dehumanizing act. The snip of the razor, the gentle scrape on his scalp, is a tender moment amidst the brutality. The gold is safe. Aatami, bruised but unbowed, finally makes his way to a Finnish bank. He walks in, his tattered clothes and weathered face a stark contrast to the sterile environment of the bank. He sets his heavy satchels of gold on the counter. The clink of the gold as it's weighed, the whir of the counting machine, the satisfying thud of the cash being placed before him. It's the culmination of his arduous, bloody journey. He looks at the stacks of money, a small, triumphant smile playing on his lips. His dog, who also survived and found his way back to Aatami, sits patiently by his side. It's a quiet, understated ending to an unbelievably violent tale, confirming that for Aatami Korpi, Sisu isn't just a word, it's a way of life. He earned every single coin of that gold, not just through prospecting, but through sheer, unadulterated, unkillable will. What a ride! Sisu as a film is more than just an action-packed spectacle. It's a visceral exploration of human resilience and the indomitable spirit. It reminds us that even in the darkest corners of human history, amidst unimaginable brutality, there are forces that simply refuse to yield. Aatami's journey, born of grief and desperation, evolves into a testament to the power of vengeance, but also to a quiet, unwavering commitment to what is rightfully yours. It's a powerful, almost mythical portrayal of a man who embodies the very essence of defiance, pushing the limits of what a human body can endure when the spirit refuses to break. His story becomes a rallying cry for the oppressed, a beacon of hope against tyranny. Sisu delivers pure, unadulterated cinematic joy for those who appreciate a no-holds-barred action experience. Its stylized violence, iconic protagonist, and relentless pacing make it stand out. It's a masterclass in how to craft an action film that doesn't just entertain, but leaves a lasting impression of sheer, unbreakable will. It's a wild, bloody, and thoroughly satisfying watch.